thank you. You know, he's another person that you took out of the workplace and brought into ministry. And Lord, I identify with that. And I know others in the room do as well. And so we just thank you for that. Look forward to his testimony. Open up our hearts and eyes and ears. In Jesus' name. Amen.
Well, thank you. Gosh, after all this, Sam, I really appreciate your heart. But I'm handing out a report, so here we go.
Brag on, buddy.
I thought about, well, maybe we shouldn't pass that out.
No.
Can I say one more thing
Yeah.
on that? I want you to feel
That was it,
comfortable with
I'm
it. No, Ken Squires, you know, they did the Combo of Hope, and they didn't have his, you know, I don't know if they were 10% down on their numbers or whatever. And last time I heard him share, he was hem-hawing. And I had to look at him and go, I know you, just like I know you and know you, and I'm like, you don't hem-haw, you don't tell us it was down 10%. Oh, you only had 20,000 people participate. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, give me a break, stop it, okay? So thank you for your report.
Well, and one of my past history is I'm an accountant. I mean, that's what I was trained for. That's what I went to school for. Worked at Koch Industries for 8 years as an accountant, counting Mr. Koch's money. And there was a lot to count too, and still is. But so that's kind of where I gravitate, and so I am kind of numbers oriented and stuff like that. But I went, just to give just a quick testimony, I went from Koch Industries to Love Box Company, worked for the Love family for 21 years. Bob Love and Lil, they're both deceased now, but great. I just loved working for them. When they sold the company, I thought, well, maybe the Lord's wanting me to do something else. So after spending 30 years in the corporate world, I ended up at His Helping Hands, which was actually just down the street. So if you think about it, Koch Industries is on 37th Street, Love Box is on 37th Street, and His Helping Hands is on 37th Street. So I could write a book about my life on 37th Street. Never have gotten off of it, you know. So, but anyhow, I really do enjoy I'm a PK, preacher's kid. My father was a pastor and grew up in a Christian home. My parents were not really vocal about their faith, and I don't know whether it's part of the denomination we were in, which is a really liberal Protestant denomination. A little bit of their, you know, just the age that they were, the generation that they were in, and everything. But Amy and I both had that experience. We met in college and got married in Springfield, Missouri, and then we moved to Wichita to take the job at Koch Industries. And some of you know Richard Dashner. He passed away a few years ago. He was a pastor of Faith Presbyterian Church here in town, and then went with ISI, International Students Inc., and was with them for a number of years. But he was the one that really, he's one of my spiritual fathers. He came one night to our apartment that we were living in, and basically asked us, you know, if you were to die tonight, do you have assurance you're going to heaven? And, you know, we both went down the works mentality answer. You know, we said, well, we've been pretty good people, you know, and I think we will. And he just very lovingly told us, well, wrong answer, you know? And as Dick can, and as he did. And so he clarified the gospel for us that night. And, you know, we had heard all those things. I went back and looked at all the stuff. Here I'm a preacher's kid, you know, and I'd heard all this stuff, but I hadn't personalized it. I think that was the difference. I was relying, you know, as a young kid, I can remember someone asked me, if I was going to go to heaven. I said, well, yeah, sure, my dad's Reverend Dome, you know. They're going to look at me and say, yeah, come on in, Reverend Dome, you know, son, and everything. But that's kind of the family life that I grew up in. My mom and dad were very moral. You know, we went to church every Sunday. We did everything we were supposed to do. But until you personalize that, until you make Jesus Christ your personal Lord and Savior, you know, that's really where it's at. And that's kind of our testimony. And, you know, we've carried that into His Helping Hands as we go down to His Helping Hands. And so I kind of want to just give a brief update on the ministry. This isn't really going to be a motivational speech. I'm not like Mr. Olsey here, get up here and give a great motivational speech. But I would like to give you a little just update on what we're doing out at His Helping Hands, and then how we can partner, you know, because we've talked about global things. We're really a local ministry. We're focused here in the city of Wichita. But we want to work with as many churches as we can, as many other partnerships, as many ministries, as many fellowships as we can, because we really see our niche in the city as being a storehouse of items that can be given to poor and needy people. And then we want to share the gospel of Jesus with everybody that we deal with. And so that's kind of the bottom line of what we're doing out of His Helping Hands. The handout that I gave you, I'll just kind of go through this briefly. This will just kind of keep me on target here. The mission statement, we're basically there to help people with their physical needs. But again, the bottom line is we want to show them the love of Jesus and share the gospel of Jesus with them. The ministry method that we use, we have the items that are donated to us throughout, people throughout the city that have no longer needed items. And rather than take them to the landfill and throw them away, if there's usable life in them, they can bring them to His Helping Hands, and we'll store them and organize them and make those available for needy families. And then the types of things that we take in are food, clothing, furniture, appliances, basic household items, the washcloths, the towels, the dishes, the cups, and stuff like that. We also take in lawn equipment, shop tools, computers, and automobiles. That's pretty much a short list of the types of things that we take in. And then if they're usable, we don't want to give people junk. We really want to treat our clients with dignity. So sometimes we have to refuse donations, and that doesn't always go over well, but we do the best we can with that. But those are the types of things we come in. And then we get needy families from referrals. We don't have it's not like a store where people come in there and say, hey, I need a bed, can I have a bed? But they are referred to us by other ministries, by other churches. And then once a need is documented, and we go through that process, then we look for things in our inventory to meet those needs, and then we schedule an appointment for them to come in and get their stuff, and then that's when we share the gospel. We sit down and pray with them, and we've had some really powerful testimonies come out of some of those. And we serve everybody. We have been accused of, well, you're just helping other Christians out. Well, we do help other Christians out, and that's biblical, obviously, to help our brothers and sisters. But we've had all kinds of faiths, come out there. We've had people that say, well, I'm really an atheist, okay. I'm a Satanist. We've had it all, We've had people that, we've heard a little bit of everything. We've had all kinds of sexual preferences come out there. We've had the transgender. We've had the, homosexuals. We've had, just a little bit of everything. And, that's really what we want, because we want to share the gospel with them. And so we take the opportunity to share the gospel every time that someone like that comes out there. The types of needy families that we reach out to, the elderly, widows, widowers, single parents. We have a lot of homeless veterans that come out there. We work with the HOT team here in town for the homeless outreach team with the Wichita Police Department. They bring, they're pulling people out from underneath bridges and finding housing for them. We're working with them. We work with people coming out of incarceration. They come out with, $50 and a shirt on their back, and what are they going to do, Shannon can tell you probably a lot more.
They come out with 40.
Oh, 40, I'm sorry. So we're there to help these types of vulnerable populations in our city. And then we simply distribute these items to them, share the gospel with them. We've had, in addition to the furniture that we do, we also do clothing. We have a large clothing industry. We hang about 4,000 clothing items a week, and people can come. They don't need an appointment to come and get the clothing. We do that every Saturday morning. And Amy actually counsels. We call it counselors, but those are the people that sit and share their faith with people. They pray with them and stuff like that. She had a lady here not too long ago that comes quite often. They can come every 30 days to get clothing. They don't have to have an appointment for that. And she comes quite often and has a lot of kids. And she's had quite a varied life, different husbands and stuff like that. And so, but this one particular time, Amy shared this with me, that she came and said, I really don't need clothes today. People think I come here just because I want these clothes all the time. But I really came because I needed prayer today. And she was on the verge of suicide that day. And Amy was able to minister to her and to pray with her. And I saw her there last Saturday, so I know she's still living, and everything. But and this happened some time back. But that's just an example of the type of ministry that we really want to do out there, is to not just give people. So we're not there to enable people. And sometimes we have to be firm with our clients when we talk about that too, because we're here to help you through an issue, help you through a problem, but we just don't have the resources to sustain you, you know. So, you know, we do try to find them other types of help and things like that too. The different types of ministries that we're doing out at His Helping Hands, in addition to the furniture, that's at the bottom of this first page here. We do have the clothing room where we hang the 4,000 clothing items every week. Food pantry, we have 4 main food distributions every month that we help people with. We're a part of the Microsoft Authorized Refurbishing Program, so we're actually licensed through them to refurbish computers, and then we buy our software from them. We're a MAR, a Microsoft Authorized Refurbisher. We give those to low-income families. Used vehicles, we do 20 to 30 a year. Last year, we actually did over 50 vehicles that we gave to needy families. Prayer ministry, James Weishire back there, he came out and helped us set up a prayer room in conjunction with the Wichita Prayer Movement that Sam was talking about. And so we have a public prayer room out there, and it's not used a lot because we're kind of an industrial park up there on 37th Street, but it is used, and people come in there and pray, and it's a public prayer room. We have a lot of the elected officials. Amy came out and made a board for them, and people could pray for the elected officials. We want it to be an interactive room, you know, so there are places they can pin prayer requests up on the wall and put prayer, answered prayer up on the wall and stuff like that. We're still kind of developing that, but that's what the prayer ministry is. Love in Action Ministry. There was an organization in town called Love in the Name of Christ. Some of you are probably familiar with that. The board decided to dissolve that ministry back in July of last year. No, it was June of last year, the end of June. And so the board of HHH decided to continue that work in the city, and so we kind of folded them into His Helping Hands, and we wanted to keep the name Love in there to kind of keep the connection. So it's now called Love in Action, and so that's what's going on out there too. And that's something that we can partner with other churches on.
What is Love in Action? I didn't hear you define it.
What is Love in Action?
I know, but I'm just saying, what is that?
Well, we'll talk about it here in just a minute.
Oh, you got it.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get through the list right now. Fresh Hope program, we have a Fresh Hope. This is a program to help single moms get out of poverty. We've had 670 some ladies go through it. 80% of those ladies are now self-sustaining, which means they're off of government type help and stuff like that. So that's been a very successful program. We have a gift shop that helps us with our funding. That's out on our campus. We have an Oak Lawn thrift store down in the Oak Lawn area. That building used to be a strip club, was donated to us. We've converted it into a thrift store now, so a building that was used to abuse women is now used to help women. Dress a Girl, that's a ministry that they sew little, mainly women throughout the city come 2-3 times a month, and we have a bunch of sewing machines set up out there, and they sit down, they sew little dresses, and they send them all over the world to these little girls and stuff like that. That's a fairly new ministry out there at His Helping Hands. And then L'chaim Yeshua, they're not really a ministry of His Helping Hands, but they're a Messianic Jewish group here in Wichita, and they meet out at His Helping Hands. And we've dealt with them for like 10, 15 years now. And I mean, even before His Helping Hands, I think they were, you know, good partnership with Central Christian Church, who is our parent church. That's who started His Helping Hands. And so Hubie Shore was the rabbi, and I just love him. I talk to him multiple times a week, but they meet out at His Helping Hands also. I don't see a clock in here. Well,
You got 15 minutes, you're only halfway through. You're good.
well, I kind of wanted this to be a little bit interactive too. The second page is really just a bunch of numbers, okay? So we're not even going to go over that, okay? It just kind of gives you a little bit of the scope of our ministry. This is 2019. I just haven't had a chance to put all the numbers together for last year, so this is actually from 2017, but it just gives you a little bit of a scope of the ministry and how we're funded and things like that. The third page then is really something I would like to talk about though. How can we partner? You know, we've all got a bunch of mission-minded people in here. We've got different organizations and things like that. And at His Helping Hands, our passion really is to be a resource for Christ-honoring churches and fellowships and ministries in the city of Wichita. You know, we talk about missions all over the world, and that's great. It's biblical and everything else, but when I started His Helping Hands, I was surprised how many people right here in Wichita, Kansas, had never heard of the gospel, had never heard about Jesus, didn't have a clue what we were talking about when we asked them, these questions. And that continues today. We have people coming in that just they haven't heard the gospel. And so, and we do have different religions come in there. We do have international students that come in there. So we can have an international flavor, right there at the ministry too. But our focus really is for Wichita, Kansas, to share the gospel of Jesus. And we're not trying to get them connected to any particular church. We're trying to get them connected to a Christ-honoring church, hopefully in their neighborhood, because that's a lot easier and a lot more practical and things like that. 4 verses that really stand out to me on this is Deuteronomy 15:11. There will always be poor people in the land. Therefore, I command you to be open-handed toward your brothers and toward the poor and needy in your land. Proverbs 19:17. He who is kind to the poor lends to the Lord, and He will reward him for what he has done. Matthew 25:40. I tell you the truth, whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers of mine, you did for me. And then 1 John 3:17 and 18. If anyone has material possessions and sees his brother in need, but has no pity on him, how can the love of God be in him? Dear children, let us not love with words or tongue, but with actions and in truth. And we all know how important the poor were to Jesus. He talked about it many times. And so that's what we do. We're trying to help the poor here in Wichita, but at the same time, share the gospel of Jesus, because we firmly believe that their true hope for success in the future is a relationship with Jesus Christ. And so that's what we're trying to focus them on. So I put a few things down here. How can we partner together on this type of thing? We would like to partner with as many as want to partner. And we're making success in this area. We've got several churches in town, that really we're doing some significant things with. And the Fresh Hope program, for instance, we just started that, another wave of that out of Bethel Life Center this past November, whenever that started. So those are the types of things we'd like to partner with as many as we can. And so I just put down a few things here. The types of things that we can do is we can be the storehouse. We can be the place where the resources are that you can come and you can access, for these people. You can refer people to us to help in these particular areas. But on the other side of the fence, the churches and ministries, tell your people that, hey, if you have no longer needed items, we're an alternative. There are other places you can take that type of stuff, and those are good organizations too, but we are an alternative, and we're going to take that stuff and give it to somebody that has a need and share the gospel of Jesus. So they might come to get a sofa, but they might leave with the sofa and Jesus in their heart, and that's kind of the way I like to explain that. And then also volunteers. We have about 200 volunteers a week that come out to His Helping Hands to help with the different types of work. And it's almost like a little community out there. We have 15 acres and several buildings now. And there's furniture repair, there's appliance repair, there's auto repair, there's the gift shop, there's clothing, there's warehouse. We go out and pick up donations. So there's a little bit, people can really find a passion of theirs and plug in. We have the sewing ministry now, if ladies want to sew or whatever. Or men, some of you men may want to sew, I don't know. But so anyhow, we have a lot of opportunities for that. But the bottom line is we do want to help people with their physical needs, and then share the gospel of Jesus with them. That's our passion. So Amy, do you have any comments? She's really been supportive of me when we made the switch to come out of the corporate world to this. It was a little scary at the time, especially financially. And God has, I do it all over again, and God is very faithful, as you all know, as we all know. And but she had to weather some of that with me and kind of help me with that, and pray with me through that. So, is there anything you want to add about the counseling or anything? And she's a mentor for some of the ladies over in Fresh Hope. That program, I just don't have time to go into all the nuances of some of these programs, but that program has been, we're in our 6th year of that now, and a lot of ladies, their lives are changing, and their children, they have a new lease on life and everything. So any questions I could answer for any of you about maybe some of the things I've talked about this morning or this afternoon?
I would just like to say that, the government tries to do what they do, but they do a much better job than the government because there's a lot of red tape, you know, when it comes to handing out things, you know, and I talk about fresh hope.